基本法確保咗一國兩制可以行穩致遠，令香港保持獨特地位。
低稅率以及健全嘅基礎建設，亦都令到香港有非常之好嘅營商環境。
香港完善嘅法制，令經濟穩定繁榮。
國安法令社會安定，自然更有利營商環境啦。香港同祖國緊密聯繫，亦都係中國一個面向國際嘅窗口。呢個地位可以話係世界上獨一無二。
基本法第115條保障咗我哋嘅貨物、無形財產，甚至係資本嘅流動自由。
無論係內地或外地企業同香港公司合作，就係雙贏。
我哋香港人有國際視野，產品融合中西文化，靈活運用兩地嘅資源同埋優勢，能夠創造出更加高嘅價值。
做初創有政府支持好重要。我哋喺2016年加入咗數碼港培育計劃，幫助我哋發展得更加成功。
我相信完善嘅金融體系以及法治係非常之適合我哋喺香港建設我哋嘅業務。
喺基本法嘅保障之下，香港喺大灣區開發之中擔任重要角色，可以見香港嘅年輕人機遇良多啊！
Hi everyone and welcome back. Last week we left you thinking about drones and their many possible applications. Each week we'll dive deeper into topics such as robotics, artificial and virtual reality, blockchain, e-commerce and more. Gene editing can be useful in treating or preventing certain genetic diseases.
Many businesses are trying to solve the same problems and target the same audience as you are.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the HKTDC Entrepreneur Day 2022. The session, Unicorn Fireside Chat, Revival of the Travel Super App will soon begin. This session is conducted in English. Simultaneous interpretation in Cantonese and Putonghua is available. For physical participants joining us here, you may get a headset at the reception. Channel 1 is for Cantonese and Channel 2 is for Putonghua. For participants joining us online, you may select the audio channel below the video frame, and you are also welcome to raise questions through the Q&A box. Selected questions will be asked at the Q&A session towards the end. And we are very pleased to have Mr. Jong Kim, CEO of Yanolja, and Mr. Eric Lai, co-founder and director of operations of Flow. Without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Jong Kim, CEO of Yanolja. Hi, Jong.
Hello, thank you for inviting me here.
Yeah, cool. The stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me here. And today I would like to share Yanolja's history for making the good success with new digital transformation in this industry. So in this sense, I would like to focus on digital transformation to disrupt and innovate the industry itself to make the new success and growth from the startup industry. Next. I would like to mention the industry First, tourism industry is one of the biggest industries in the world. Tourism industry account for about 10% out of global GDP. Also, the size of industry has been doubled every 15 years. So from the entrepreneur's point of view, I think the size and the growth of the total addressable market is very important to make a decision where to play. Also, this industry is very good for the ESG. As you know, tourism is not the industry hurting the environment. Also, it's very helpful to allocate the wealth in many regions and in many generations. In this sense, this industry is very good for the ESG as well. And the reason I'm telling about the size, growth, and ESG, because from the startup point of view, the picking the where to play is very important. Next. Also, the investment of R&D, the tourism industry is not the industry having the big R&D up to now. In terms of the e-commerce, like retail or automotive, bio, semiconductor, and fintech, those industries have had huge R&D investment up to now. So in regards of where to play, those industries are quite difficult to fight with the big giant IT companies. However, in terms of the tourism or the other industries with lack of the investment for R&D up to now, I think those kind of the industries can be opportunities for the startups. Next. The last point is about level of the digital transformation. Most of the industry has been converted from the offline to online. Digitization is the first step to provide the web itself. Digitalization is needed to transform from the web to app. But recently, we need to focus on the digital transformation to consolidate online and offline and B2C and B2B. So this is a point which the startup can disrupt and innovate the industry to be the leading player. So like Google, Amazon, Netflix, and so on, I think startup can be the leading player if leading this digital transformation in each industry. Next. So that's the reason why I'm telling that digital transformation in the age of new normal is very important. And we need to prepare data and people for the data and digital. Next. So I mentioned about the ESG before. So I would like to explain the example from our industry, tourism. So as you know, to achieve the net zero, we need to reduce the CO2 emission by 78% up to 2050. 78% reduction in CO2 emission is very, very big number. Next. But in case of the travel and hospitality industry, we are making 8% of the global CO2 emission. So at this moment, many industries like automotive, steel, and the other CO2 related industries may have quite many of the regulations about the net zero. But to reduce 78% of CO2 emission, I think net zero will impact on all the industries, including the tourism. Next. So we need to understand why we are making such amount of the CO2 emission. I think there are two reasons. First, we don't have no reliable data. Second, all the data is bundled, so it's very difficult to decompose and itemize its data. Next. So if we can have a reliable data, we can minimize the waste. Also, we can decompose the data, then we can make user can optimize use of the energy or the amenity, for example. This is very helpful to reduce the CO2 emission. For example, if we book the hotel room, how much you use the electricity, water, amenity, tower, and so on, the room rate are same for everybody. But we can decompose all the data with the digital technologies. It's possible to make user pay their room rate depending on how much energy they used. Next. So if we can use the digital technologies like Internet of Things or AI technology like personalization, it's possible to reduce huge amount of the CO2 emission. And the amount of the CO2 emission reduction can be bigger than the other industries like automotive, the EV, electric car. So this is the point. We need to figure out digital technology can save the CO2 emission. So digital technology can be helpful to make a new market, grow the industry, lead the digital transformation for the industry. At the same time, this data-based digital technologies can be helpful to read the ESG trend as well. Next. So in this sense, Yanolja tried to build these digital technologies for our business. So we decompose our vision into four. The first, physical space. Second, IP, like content. Third, partner. Fourth, and user. Next. The space should be combined with IP to provide a service. If we have one building, but if we don't have anything, then the building cannot provide any service. But if we can combine the accommodation IP or F&B IP or entertainment IP, the use of the building can be different. So we need to digitize the physical space itself. Also, we can maximize value of the space-based service with the right IP. This is a way to maximize the value of this industry. Next. Also, we try to put all the data in the cloud. With the cloud, it's possible to provide any kind of the digital services at a low cost. So in the cloud, we are providing the IoT, big data, machine learning, and blockchain services at a low cost. This is what we have done. Next. So for example, with the blockchain technology, we can provide all-in-one pass and reservation management system for the hotels. Next. Also with the IoT technologies, it's possible to provide bespoke room service for the customers. Next. This is what we have done. And with this digital transformation, Yanolja can be one of the global top 10 travel companies in the world. And it took only 5 to 6 years. So first of all, we tried to build the global #1 super app. In that sense, we start our super service from Korea first, and we have a plan to extend our super services into the other countries as well. So before Yanolja, most of the travel services have a kind of assumption that customers are traveling once a quarter. But we would like to change the definition of the travel and from the once a quarter to everyday travel. That's our vision. So to achieve the everyday travel, we try to diversify the categories from flight and accommodation into the other leisure-related categories like musical, concert, and all kinds of tickets, and all kinds of transportation, and exhibition, and F&B. So many categories we have been extending to diversify our categories. Also, with the solution business, we try to extend the merchant base. Before Yanolja, in Korea, there were only 5,000 bookable hotels. However, as of now, in Korea, 25,000 hotels are bookable. And I think it will take a couple of years to double number of the merchants as well. Because we try to provide cloud-based solution for all the accommodation partners, the merchants, because without the solution, the cost for online operation is higher than the revenue they can expect from the online business. That's the reason why many merchants do not want to do their online business aggressively. But with the solution, they can automate their operation process. That's the reason why they can lower the online operation cost. That's the way Yanolja can extend the merchant base quite aggressively. So as of now, Yanolja has around 18 million B2C users for our travel platform. Also, we have around 1.4 million the merchant base as well. For our solution business, we are doing our solution business in 170 countries, and we have around 18,000 licenses we have been selling, and number of the accumulated licenses are growing quite fast. And with this kind of the innovation, we can make around 39 GMV growth, even during the COVID-19. Also in this year, 2022, thanks to the endemic, we are growing our GMV by 2.5x. Next. So we believe that there are two levers, the merchant partner network and customer loyalty, to make this trend of the growth. So again, we made more than 30% growth during the COVID-19 annually. And right after the COVID-19, during the endemic in 2022, our GMV has been growing by 2.5 times. Next. Also, we have been focusing on the non-accommodation as well to diversify the categories, as I told you. So we have making the exclusive partnership with most of the major leisure facilities in Korea, like Everland or Lotte World. Also, in terms of entertainment, our market share is more than 70%. So we have made the exclusive distribution right with most of the K-pop artists like Psy, BTS, or Blackpink. The reason they made the exclusive distribution right with Yanolja, because we are providing the automated, the on-site operation system combining with our online platform. That's the reason why they would like to core with us. Also, we have more than 70% market share out of the B2C flight booking as well. Next. So that's the reason why we can make a huge growth, sustainable growth for the GMV per one merchant like this. Next. And as I told you, we have huge customer pool for our MAU. So most of the Korean travelers are visiting to Yanolja's super apps. Next. Definitely, we have made a good growth in our transaction users and the GMV per one transacting users. Next. This kind of growth comes from our solution business, including core, distribution, and hardware solutions. Next. As you can see here, number of licenses has been growing quite fast, regardless of the COVID-19. Next. And we are building the global data lake from our super app and solution business. Next. So again, the reason we could make a very meaningful growth thanks to the flywheel effect from cloud solution and super app. So these two arms can make a huge synergy effect for our company's growth, and also this flywheel effect can make a disruption for the global tourism industry, I believe. Next. And also, at this moment, online travelers penetration is only 10% out of global travelers. And I think this kind of the synergy can increase the online penetration from 10 to 30 to 40%, which is what we have proved in Korean market first. Next. And then with this global data lake, I think up to 2050, we can make another contribution in net zero carbon emission for the ESG as well. So this is what I have prepared, and I hope this kind of the Yanolja's business model can be kind of the good insight for the participants for this seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, Jong, for your insightful sharing. Next, we will have Mr. Eric Lai, co-founder and director of operations of Flow.
Great. All right. Hello, testing. All right, great. So, yeah, thanks for having me. So I'm going to stand here to share about what my company does, because I'm going to be sitting for quite a while after this. So yeah, so it was a very good sharing by Jong Yoon just now, and then so my company is called Flow, and we're actually in the same industry here with Yanolja, but our company is more focused on hotels. And then we are a platform for flexible hotel and travel experiences, and yeah, so basically, Flow, in one sentence, is a platform for flexible hotel and travel experience booking in all the big cities around the world. So so Yanolja is from Korea, very big company. I really like it, and we actually started in Hong Kong, and right now we're in Singapore, we're in Malaysia, and we are in Vietnam as well. So the mission that we have for our company is we want to make urban travel, as flexible, as spontaneous as it can be. So and obviously, most of you guys have been probably 1 or 2 staycations in the past 2 years, right? During COVID. So staycation has become a buzzword. It's become a very normal thing, and that's exactly what we see in the hotel industry. And that hotels are not just for accommodation now, but it's for basically a place for creating unforgettable memories, right? Having birthday parties with your friends, have a chit chat with your friends, in an afternoon during the weekend. So it's completely different, the usage for the hotel. So that is what we want to serve. That is what we want to solve for this industry. So basically, traditional hotels, they sell by nights, right? But on our platform, they sell by hours. They sell by sections. So in that way, you can find different usages based on the duration of stay that you need. And a brief overview of the hotel market size. So the global market size, the APAC market size is 110 billion, and we target the younger generation, the more affluent people who want to take hotel as a luxury experience, as a leisure experience, rather than just accommodation. And an interesting figure to share with you guys, actually in Hong Kong, in Q2 this year, the occupancy rate was actually still 50%, and that is under a situation where there were basically no travelers, right? So you can tell that how strong the local demand is actually there is, right? And in the past, hotels have been focused too much on cross-border travelers. They actually left the local demand behind, and that's what we want to offer to the hotels. And a bit of figures. So on our platform, on average, in any 6 months, our users actually made at least on average 3 bookings in any given 6 months in the past 2 years. And over half of our users, they are repeated users. And our string, we work with mostly 3 to 5 star hotels. So they are high-end hotels because we want to make sure the experience on our platform is great, it's good hotels. And on the other side, we also have some partners from the co-working space front. So actually, on Flow, you can not only just book hotels, but you can also book co-working space, meeting rooms, hot desks. So we want to serve both leisure and business demand in the city. So far, we got 300,000 downloads on App Store. So we are a very mobile-first company because we know travel is something that you do on the go, right? You no longer browse the internet to make a booking for a hotel, but you actually do it all on the mobile. And so our uniqueness does not lie in just flexibility, and that's our core strength, of course, but our strength also lies in local payment gateways because for our company, we actually serve local people. Like Hong Kong, in Singapore, we serve Singaporean. In Malaysia, we serve Malaysian. So that's why the local payment gateways are very important because we want to make them make it as easy as it can be to book a hotel or to book a co-working space. So in Hong Kong, we actually have Octopus. We have PayMe as well. You can book a hotel through Octopus. You can imagine that, right? So that's the convenience we want to offer. And apart from that, we also build a dynamic pricing engine. What it means by dynamic is that, for a hotel, they have been selling by nights, right? So they don't know how much should I price, for example, a 6-hour duration on a Saturday because they don't have such data, right? But for us, as a platform focused on flexible booking, we have that data. So we can advise a hotel, hey, how much you actually should price a 3-hour duration a bit lower on Wednesday, but a bit higher on a Saturday. So in that way, we help hotels maximize their occupancy rate and also maximize the hourly rate for their rooms. So apart from Hong Kong, we are in Singapore, Malaysia, and actually Vietnam as well, just 2 months ago. And we want to go to more. So our focus is also Southeast Asian countries, because those are the emerging countries, and the travel has started to come back in those regions. So our market expansion strategy in a brief one. We do awareness campaign, and also we do a lot of acquisition. So like installing the apps, and also we do a lot of retention as well. So maybe some of you guys would ask, hey, how has COVID affected our business, right? So we are a little bit more lucky than the other companies because we focus on the local demand, right? So actually in the past few years, we've seen quite good growth rate in our business, because a lot of people, they cannot travel abroad. Now they go to hotels for staycations, for leisure, for good experiences. And to us, I think it's actually the best moment for travel companies to expand. I think that's also why, Yanolja has, it has gone off basically, because the worst time is usually, where the opportunities lie. And I think this is the moment as well for us. So that's why we actually never stop, exploring other countries. And probably Vietnam is the latest one, and we'll probably go to 2 to 3 more countries in the coming year. And some survey actually does say that the hotel or the travel industry in general won't be able to come back to pre-COVID level until 2024, because we feel that COVID has, although it's kind of near the end, but it has brought a structural change to the travel industry, or to the hotel in particular, because nowadays a lot of meetings are done online, and even though after COVID, it's going to be the norm, right? You probably travel less and less, and what you focus on is the local experiences. So that's what we want to focus on, the local tourism. Yeah, and that's why on that we are also adding some more features into our app on top of hotels. For example, if you book a hotel for 6 hours in Mongkok, right? For example, what do you want to do before the hotel room? What do you want to do after the hotel room, right? So that's what we can offer. We can suggest to our users, in terms of booking a hotel, booking a restaurant, or getting a bottle of wine, for your vacation. We want to offer more experiences on the platform. Yeah. And so some of you guys might ask, hey, so what exactly is the difference between you guys and the bigger OTAs like Klook or Hotels.com, those platforms? So we always want to say that if you want to book a 4-day, 3-night vacation, you still go to Booking.com, right? You still go to Trip.com. But if you want to book half a day or like all-night hotel room for just a few hours and just to relax, you come to Flow. So that's our positioning. Yeah, so we're a pretty young but experienced team. So I am the CEO, and then I got 3 other co-founders as well. So we are all, born and bred in Hong Kong, so we know exactly what the market needs, and also, the Southeast Asia as well. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much what we do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric, for your insightful sharing. So we'll now move on to our panel discussion session. May I now invite our moderator, Ms. Relana Se, CEO and Editorial Director of Jumpstart Media, to join us on stage, please. So for our audience on-site and online, you are also welcome to raise questions through the Q&A box. So I will pass the time to Relana now. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Kim, and thank you so much, Eric, for your talk. I'm sure the audience really enjoyed learning more about both of your companies. So I think we were very lucky today because this topic is particularly interesting for a lot of people. We've all been stuck here in Hong Kong, for those of you from Hong Kong, for the last few years, and now it's finally our chance to travel. But when we do travel, the first thing we think about are, what is the research we need to do? Where do we look? Where should we stay? And that's where travel apps and super travel apps like Flow, like Yanolja, these are the ones that come into play. So we are very lucky today because we have two wonderful companies that are in the same space. That have gone through a journey where some places actually converge and places that diverge. And I think there's a lot to say that they could learn from each other and that we could learn from them. So while both Mr. Kim and Eric were speaking, I actually took some notes diligently in the audience. And I heard a lot about integration. Integration in different ways. Mr. Kim talked about integration from the data, from a data perspective. Eric actually talked about integration from he had the hours that he stayed that you could book on the hotel, but then the stuff before and after it, right? The integration of the whole, the larger picture into the whole travel app. So I want to ask you guys both a little bit more questions about this integration, where you guys see this whole industry going in terms of integration, whether it's from like a B2B, a B2C perspective, and it's where it's going from there. Mr. Kim, maybe I could start with you.
Sure. In case of the online travel agency business model, if you made a hotel booking, probably you need to do the contract, payment, and identification for the online booking platform. However, when arriving the hotel lobby, you need to do again all of them. Contract, you need to sign. Identification, you need to provide your passport. And payment, you need to provide your credit card. So we should do all of them again because this data is not consolidated, integrated from the B2C to the hotel lobby. Also, in case of the B2C and B2B platform, all the data is not fragmented. We need to use several separate tools to manage the hotel operation. So I believe that if we can integrate data flow from the B2C customer's point of view or the merchant point of view, we can enhance the customer experience like the other industries like mobility, delivery, or the e-commerce. At the same time, we can automate the merchant operation to lower their operation cost. So that's what I would like to make you understand. Integration is very important. And we try to integrate all of the flow for the data between the B2C and B2B, online and offline. That's what we have done.
Great, wonderful. And since integration is so important, Mr. Kim, do you have any advice for Eric, for Flow and his platform on how integration can play a greater part of his app?
Sure. So I think hotel is kind of the one piece of the customer's travel. That's the reason why we try to make a solution for every categories. So as of now, Yanolja is #1 solution provider for the golf courses, F&B, hotel, leisure facilities, and all kinds of entertainment businesses like a musical and concert for the K-pop artists. And we are providing our solution for the residentials like apartment. The reason we are providing our solution for every kinds of the categories because only for the hotel, I think it's very difficult to make a profit. But we can make one good solution to diversify our solution for many kinds of the categories, industries, then it's easier to make a profit. So explain Yanolja business in front of the global investors. As always, they are telling that Yanolja have been making quite meaningful growth. So this year, we are making almost 100% growth compared to last year. But at the same time, we are making the profit. So I think before the recent recession, I think growth is much more important than the profit. But from now on, I think for the next 2 to 3 years, profitability is another lever to make the investor understand this company can be the next generation. In that sense, I think please think about the good structure to be diversified for the other space-related services.
Okay, that sounds interesting. And in fact, you're already starting to implement some of what Mr. Kim is talking about. Because when you talk about integration on your platform, you also talk about, what do people want to do before, after that. Could you share with us a little bit more about, this integration that you guys are doing, how you could implement some of Mr. Kim's suggestions and where you guys are going from there?
Sure. So I think for us, in terms of integration, on our stage, I see it in two sides. The first side is the hotel room availability, the integration with the hotel's internal system, because hotel industry is a very I would say it's a very inefficient industry because it has a lot of systems, a lot of layers, like OTA, like Booking.com, Trip.com, and then they have a property management system, and they might have another card system for the key cards, and then they might have another CRM system for upselling, and then they have another cleaning system, right? They have cleaning staff. They have to have the scheduling system. So it's a very, very complex, and so that's why a lot of inefficiencies inside there. So a lot of data points that you have to integrate. So for us, for now, our main business is still an OTA, booking hotel rooms. So integration with the hotel property management system is one of our key initiatives, because we want to make sure that the availability and the pricing will be fed into the system or the other way around automatically, right? So in that way, the hotel staff, they don't need to maintain the rates or maintain the availability on multiple platforms manually. Then that would cause a lot of overlapping or even overselling, right? So that's one part of integration, and the other part that Renina mentioned is the products on top of hotels, right? So what we are trying to do is we wanna based on the hotel rooms that we are already selling, especially the flexible duration, we want to add some more different short-term activities for our users. And that's actually kind of also like reselling, but in a data-driven way, because we know our users when exactly they check in or when exactly they check out, right? So that's a bit different than traditional overnight customers. So we want to make use of that data, and then we can recommend the most suitable activities to our users. So in order to do that, we have to first, of course, get a lot of inventory from the activities providers, right? Because we have a lot of local providers that I would say they are still offline. You know, for example, if you want to book a workshop during the weekend in Hong Kong, for example, you want to go to like a glass blowing workshop, for example, you actually don't know where to find. Or you probably just go to Instagram to search for the beautiful pictures, and then you contact the shop owner directly. But you know, why don't we just bring them all online, and then we can sell them, you know, or help them find users on our platform. So that's the other side of integration we are looking to do as well. Yeah.
Okay, great. I see data, and anything related to data is something that's very important to the industry. But one thing everyone always talks about today, and we can never avoid, is COVID-19. So COVID-19 has impacted a lot of industries, but especially the travel industry. And now we're seeing kind of a shift in mentality, at least in Hong Kong, over the last few months in terms of how COVID-19 will affect travel and around the world as well. So what do you see as the greatest challenge and the opportunities now with the trend with COVID-19? Eric, why don't I start with you first?
Sure. I think I would start with, the trends that I observed during COVID. So first thing is definitely cross-border travel is 90% of them has disappeared, and now it's getting back. But the thing is, like, the travel pattern, I think, has already changed. People may prefer some short-term travel instead of longer ones, because they might be afraid of, like, sudden COVID situation being worse in some countries. So that's the thing, that they may be more cautious on how the situation evolves in particular in some countries. So that's the third thing. And I think for COVID, but I think in general it is actually getting better. But I wouldn't say it will immediately go back to where we were before COVID, because it would take time for people to get used to the new travel pattern. But I think there's been a structural change in the travel industry, the way we travel. Yeah.
How about you, Mr. Kim? What do you think in terms of the challenges and opportunities that have been brought forth to the industry due to COVID-19?
Yeah, sure. So again, despite the financial crises or war, terrorism, and pandemic, world air passenger has been doubled every 15 years since 1975. So I think the trend will be recovered. That's what I'm sure of that. But as Eric mentioned, there are three the changes compared to the pre-COVID-19. I think the first, FIT, free independent traveler growth is faster and accelerated. So in Korea, around 30% has been recovered compared to the pre-COVID-19, but in terms of the tour package has been only 15% recovered. So I think from now on, the free independent travelers will grow faster than the tour package. That's the first point. Second, short-term travel is one of the big trends, I believe. So the hourly or the short-term hotel use, the day use, is one of the big trends, I think, in Korea. And I think this kind of trend will be extended into the other countries. That's what I feel. So many countries' hotel would like to have our solution because they would like to maximize the day use. That's the second point. Third point, operation cost. In Korea, having the inbound travelers, the hotels occupancy rate is more than 80% in the major cities. However, they just have a operation resource only for the 70% occupancy rate only. They don't want to increase the operational resource to meet the 100% occupancy rate, because they already experienced that the lower operation cost is more important to maximize their profitability. So the revenue part is the combination of the ADR and the occupancy rate. But recently, many hotels try to think that what's the best way to lower the operational cost regardless the occupancy rate. So this is very important trend as well because of the inflation, I think. So every hotel think that the labor cost will increase constantly for next 2 to 3 years. They would like to be ready to lower the operating cost. And this is the good way to offset and to prepare the next pandemic, I think.
Okay, very interesting, and actually brought in another interesting trend that a lot of people have been talking about after COVID-19, which is inflation, and how that actually affects a lot of industries, as well as what the travel industry, what the hotels, what the players and the stakeholders are thinking of now. Eric, you talked about how your team is actually from Hong Kong. You're from Hong Kong. Your whole team is from Hong Kong. So you know the local market, and you know the Southeast Asia market as well. And Mr. Kim, you are in Korea. I'm sure you're very familiar with the market that you're in, and as well as the other markets that you guys have expanded into. And as we all know, markets differ from each other a lot. That probably means that Hong Kong is a very different market, a total different beast from Korea, from the United States, from other industries out there. Eric, can you tell us a little bit more about what's special about the Hong Kong travel industry, and maybe some kind of tips for anyone who's looking to grow in this industry?
Sure. So, I think Hong Kong is actually the travel industry or the hospitality industry is actually quite a different one, because I think the way we look at it is like the immediate difference that we can tell between Hong Kong and other big countries is that Hong Kong, like most of the hotels, are like really top 5 hotels, top 5-star hotels, like good hotels, and we don't have resort type of hotels in Hong Kong, right? Because we're a very small place. But if in Malaysia or in Vietnam, Indonesia, we got a lot of resort hotels, in Thailand for sure, right? Probably you guys have been to some regions for vacations as well. So that's the product offering is completely different. In Hong Kong, we emphasize a lot on our users really like hotels who have swimming pool, who have like gym or even like spa, inside the hotel, then so that they can enjoy. I would call it a modern vacation or modern staycation. But if we compare in Malaysia, people would prefer going to a longer trip on a remote island for a resort type of staycation, right? So the needs of the users are different in big cities like Hong Kong. So obviously, as a platform, we also have to adjust to that. In terms of ranking some good hotels with good facilities, and then we will rank them on top in order to attract more users. So that's the key difference, I would say, in Hong Kong.
Mr. Kim, what about Korea? How is Korea a little bit of a different beast from the other countries out there?
As you know, Korea is the country focusing on the export. So in that sense, I think Korea is one of the good test bed to understand global tourism industry. So as of now, only with the the business data, globally around 20 to 25% recovery compared to the COVID-19. And I think in Korea, 10% point higher than the global average. So looking at the Korea's data, I believe that the tourism industry recovery will be faster than the global from now on. So up to now, Western countries have reached the growth in the tourism industry, but probably in 2023, most of the growth for the tourism industry will come from the Asia countries. In this sense, I believe that looking at the Korea's data, then it's very helpful to understand the trend and the direction of the recovery for the Asian market, I think. And also, one thing I would like to tell you about the Korean market. As I told you, Yanolja started this business model around 7 years ago. At the time, we have less than 100 employees, and also our revenue is less than 10 million. But we made more than 50 to 100 times growth in our revenue and number of the employees, thanks to our new business model. So that's the reason why I believe that we prove our business model can be successful to disrupt this industry. So this is very meaningful because think about this. Most of the innovation comes from the Western countries. In terms of the tourism industry, most of the growth comes from the Western countries. But if our industry can read the growth globally, that means Asian countries can read the innovation and disruption. So in that sense, which country read the growth in global market is very important to understand which country's company can read the innovation from now on. So I believe that new business model is very meaningful, and we would like to develop the alliance, co-working with many solution providers or the inventory wholesaler like a bed bank or the other the related the providers, players, to make innovation from the Asian countries.
Great, thank you. I see from our audience, actually, we have some questions. Even though I have more questions for both of you, I want to make sure the audience does have an opportunity to ask their questions. So a reminder for anyone, if you would like to ask questions, please feel free to send us the questions. I'll start with the first one that we received. How have you been persuading potential clients to use your platform, especially when other competitors are in the space?
Oh well, I think for us, I think we really go for the tough way. We really just talk to every hotel one by one and then try to convince them to join us because hotel industry or even travel industry has always been competitive. A lot of big players, and I think you have to find an angle to let your potential clients see what value you can create for them, right? For example, for us, we are pretty clear. We can increase the occupancy rate for the hotels. We can increase the hourly rate or revenue per available room for a hotel. So, and then we also bring in a different set of customers, which are local customers, right? And they are less sensitive to the global economic situation. So you have to make clear your value, and then what's on top will be perseverance. Just keep asking, keep knocking the door. Yeah, that's how we do it.
Mr. Kim, what about you? How do you differentiate yourself from your competitors?
In Korea, Yanolja is almost only one solution for our client can think of, because we try to acquire some of the existing players and we try to migrate their technologies from the on-premise to the cloud. So that's what we have done in Korea. So that's the reason why we can have the almost dominant position in Korean market. But outside Korea, this kind of strategy may be impossible. So that's the reason we would like to develop the alliance with many local players to make innovation. And another differentiation comes from the offline, I think. So anyway, as I told you, many properties, including the hotel, are interested in lowering their operational cost. And the robot and the Internet of Things and the other digital technologies can be very helpful to automate their operation. So we are focusing on the check-in, the lobby, and the room service first. So in case of the lobby, we check the hours the operator are talking with the guest. That only 2 hours out of the 24 hours, they are talking about any kind of the services with the guest. So the other 22 hours are the useless. So that's the reason why we believe that it's possible to lower the operating cost in front of the lobby. In terms of the room service, if you are ordering through the e-commerce, we understand where the products are staying or moving. But in terms of the room service, we are using phone. And also, we don't know whether my order is well accepted or where my order is moving. With this kind of the inefficient process for the room service, I think it's impossible to utilize a robot or the other digital technologies. So we try to digitize the room service process, and we would like to be ready to accept another digital technology like a robot for the future. So as of now, we are focusing on the lobby and the room service to digitize the data first to combine with other digital technology like a robot.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Kim. Actually, the next question is for you. The audience asks you to elaborate the use of IP, conscious use of AI, and also logistics in terms of how it relates to tourism and how to fight people's bias when it comes to collecting data.
Sure. So this is a reason why the Sophic Vision Fund made the decision to invest into Yanolja with 1.7 billion US dollar. So I think for the last 1 year, the investment size for the Yanolja is the biggest, as I know. So I would like to explain this. So digitizing the data for the properties, I think the structure is very, very similar for the residential, golf course, F&B, accommodation, and so on. But digitized data should be combined with right content. For example, we have the Starbucks in front of our office. But before the Starbucks, there were another the Korean restaurant. The revenue for the restaurant or the Starbucks are totally different because the content are different. So the reason why we are digitizing the proper data, because we would like to have the data insight to maximize the value of the property itself. In this sense, if we can understand what's the best combination between the property, the location, or the traffic data around that property and the content, then I think we can maximize the value itself using the same property. So that's the reason why we are not working with the accommodation only. We are doing all kinds of the categories. So same property, same space, same location can be used for the accommodation or entertainment or leisure facilities or F&B or residential. So we need to understand the property itself through data digitalization.
It sounds like data, technology is really important when it comes to the travel industry. What do you guys think about other future kind of these hot tech trends like metaverse, etc.? How do you think that's actually going to play in the tourism industry? Eric, what do you think?
Sure. So, just share my personal view. I think I do look at I think if you talk about whether Web3 or that kind of metaverse, that kind of trending concept would be applicable to travel industry, and for my personal view, I think it will still take time, because for travel is a very personal experience, right? You probably you will probably enjoy it if you really be in that country or be in that hotel. So I think it. For other front, like for finance, for finance industry, for other industries, I think Web3 has going places. It has been going places, but for travel, I think it would take time for it to adopt. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Eric. I know we don't have very much time left, but Mr. Kim actually talked earlier about an alliance across different players in the industry across Asia. And I think this is a great start because now both of you guys know each other. So, Eric, is there any advice you would like to ask from Mr. Kim for Flow?
Yeah, I think I would really like to know more like the B2B initiative and for Yanolja, because I understand that you guys were more on the B2C side in the beginning, especially in Korea, and now when you expand to Southeast Asia. So how was that decision made for changing from a B2C business to a B2B focused business?
Yeah, sure. So there are 3 reasons. First, to make a better customer experience. Online travel agency business model is not enough. As I told you, customers should do the contract identification and the payment again in front of the lobby. It's weird. And also there are many uncomfortable processes for the customers. So definitely we need to combine the B2C and B2B, online, offline, and so on. Also, in terms of the business model-wise, metaverse, big data, machine learning, AI, those kind of the business model are not profitable because they should gather the data, they should acquire the merchant. So there are huge items they need to make a cost. So we need to lower the cost upfront. We need to focus on the service only. In that sense, we need to combine the data on our data lake, and we let many AI, machine learning, big data, and metaverse company can have the data easily with very low cost. If we can build this kind of environment for many relevant players, it's possible to make a profitable digital services. So in that sense, I think definitely we need to combine, we need to make an alliance together. Definitely the previous business like online travel agency or the GDS and so on may have difficulties for new disruption, but definitely this kind of the new innovative company should work together to make a data lake together, then definitely we can make another disruption. So in that sense, I hope we need to work with the B2C platforms and B2B solution providers together to make better the data lake. And then we try to use this global data lake together to make innovative services like AI, metaverse, or big data. That's the reason why we try to build the B2B solution business even more important than B2C platform. And as I told you, thanks to the prior effect, we can make a bigger success and bigger the enhancement for our business model, even from the B2C platforms.
Great, wonderful. Thank you so much today for your time, Mr. Kim and Eric. I know we're out of time, even though there's a ton more questions from everyone. And I think we've had a really great talk today, a lot of insightful information. And thank you very much to all the organizers for putting this event together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So much, Jung, Yoon, Eric, and Relina for your insights. And I'm sure our audience has learned a lot from it. So may I invite you all for a group photo taking time. Yeah, you may raise. And Eric's is on the screen. Perfect. Thank you so much. This marks the end of the session, and we hope you find this discussion fruitful. So if you have any comments or suggestions, please feel free to questionnaire by scanning the QR code on screen. Don't forget to visit our exhibitors booth on site and online for collaboration opportunities with participants from all over the world. The next session, Startup Ecosystem in RCEP, will start at 1 p.m. Please stay tuned. Goodbye.
基本法確保咗一國兩制可以行穩致遠，令香港保持獨特地位。
低稅率以及健全嘅基礎建設，亦都令到香港有非常之好嘅營商環境。
香港完善